Hey everyone, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Brave Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jena Rodriguez, and we have another special guest with us, Nancy Ganzekaufer. And I'm going to have her introduce herself in just a moment. I just want to remind you what this show is all about. I am a brand and business and brave strategist, and I love helping entrepreneurs really step into the brave master that they are. And what that means is to be the brand that they want to be, to show up the way they want to show up, as well as build a business lifestyle that really serves them and serves their family and their community at large. And I believe we have to be brave about it in order to make all that happen. So I bring you guests every week that have their own story and their own inspiration that I trust that you will walk away with. And Nancy is no exception. So welcome, Nancy. How are you?
I'm great, Jena. How are you?
I am so good. I'm really excited. You're new to me, right? You're a new friend of mine. And so just as anyone listening and watching, they get to learn about you, I get to learn more about you as well. And so would love for you to, number one, just introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do in your world.
Okay, well, I am Nancy Ganzekaufer, and you said that perfectly.
Yay! I know, we worked on it.
We did work on it. I am a confident and motivated and kind of no-nonsense business coach to creative entrepreneurs, including interior designers, artists, and other coaches. So I teach them how to become a profitable business, which we all know is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, they sometimes are not profitable, if we all know what that means, right?
Then we have a really busy hobby.
Yeah, right. It's just a hobo, right? A hobby. Yeah. And so tell us a little bit more about what has you serve like interior designers and artists and such.
Okay, so I have a kind of interesting background, as so many people do. I think as women, I'm 53 years old, and my history is typical in some ways and not in others. So I started out in the corporate world, as many of us did, worked there for 10 years, landed as a first vice president of a mortgage banking department, running 3 departments of 150 people each, and then started having kids, right? So then it was like, this might not work. So my first child was in daycare, second child came along, and I left. So did the stay-at-home mom thing for a little while, didn't do that so well because I was a workaholic. And I'm like, okay, I love being a great mom, and I am, but I need something. So I went back to become a personal fitness instructor, went to a local college here in Long Island, New York, and got certified as a personal fitness trainer, ended up working for that organization. They hired me as an instructor, trained mommies out of my home, and worked at New York Sports and Fitness. Until I got pregnant with my third child. And then he was born, and unfortunately, and he's fabulous today, he had to have open heart surgery at birth and was quarantined for 2 years. So that sort of killed my career as a personal fitness instructor. Not that I was going to stay there anyway, but I did enjoy it when I did it. So when he was finally out of quarantine, and like I said, he's great today, he's a junior in college.
That's awesome.
My mother called me, who is an artist living in Las Vegas, and said, I'm giving away all my artwork. And I was like, well, why would you do that? You know, like, I'm a businesswoman, send it to me. So I didn't know what I was doing with it, but I decided to start having home art parties. I know a lot of your listeners out there, they have young kids and they just want to get out and have some wine and cheese. And I thought, I've never been to a home party before. I don't even like them. I don't like Tupperware parties or anything like that. And now I'm starting a company where I was having home art parties. It was a pathetic time in my life, really. I was working 60 hours a week to make $60. And you know, friends are looking at me like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. I know I'm onto something. I'll figure it out. And even my husband at the time, and I'm now divorced, he's just like, okay, $60 for 60 hours. And your mother made $60 too. I'm like, all right, don't say anything else. I'm going to figure this out. One day an interior designer walked into one of my parties and looked at a piece of artwork and said, this is the perfect piece of artwork for my client. It wasn't one of my mother's. I had taken on other artists at that point. Okay. Can you bring it to my client's house? Yes. Can you help us frame it? Sure. I knew nothing about any of this. Can you help us hang it? Absolutely. And I went and I figured it out. I went to a local framer. They gave me frame corners. hence why my background is carpeted walls still.
Oh, yes. Now I got it.
Because I used to look like a frame shop, right? All the frame corners.
Yes.
So 15 years later, Expressive Living, Art, Framing, and Accessories was a booming company here in the New York metro area. I served interior designers all over this area. And in order to market to them, when that light bulb moment hit, that my ideal client is the interior design world, right? So I need the interior designers. Their clients appreciate a shop at home for art, framing, and accessories service. So I went and joined the Interior Design Society, Long Island chapter. I became vice president over a couple of years, then president, and then past president, national board member, and now I'm the president of the virtual chapter, first virtual chapter in any interior design organization that I'm aware of.
Right.
Expressive Living is now closed. And really, the reason why I started business coaching 2.5 years ago is because over the 15 years that I ran Expressive Living, excuse me, the interior designers, the people who support interior designers, who that we call them industry partners, like I was to them, would come to me for business advice. I have a natural sense for business, and that's my love, right?
Yeah.
I like growing businesses and then shutting them down and growing more. So I thought, what better way to continue doing what I love to do and help more people make money? I mean, people work so hard and they don't make money, and it drives me crazy. So I call myself Your Business Partner. I'm branded under my name, but my company name is Your Business Partner because I kind of partner with my clients for the time they're working with me, and we figure out all the pieces to the puzzle that they need to get in place so that they become a rolling, profitable company doing what they love.
Yeah. And you focus on the creatives, ideally.
Well, I do, but there's really so many. I don't work with people who sell product, right?
Okay, got it. Service-based.
Yes, but coaches are all creative. Interior designers is the world I live in. So that was people who came to me naturally, but now I coach web designers, artists, interior designers, and I coach other coaches. Because in 2 years, it took me to basically become nicely profitable. And now I want to teach what I learned, because I've been in other coaching programs that
right. And I think what you said, a couple things that stood out for me. One is, so for me, being brave and as an entrepreneur and brave master, as I call people, I have a motto and kind of a core value called say yes and then figure it out. And that's what you repeated over and over and over, right? Yeah. And I think it's important that people get that. Sometimes we don't have it all figured out, yet you find a way to say yes to it. Yes, I'll figure out the framing. Yes, I'll figure out just even small things like that look probably bigger than small back then, going, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's like you have enough belief that you'll figure it out that you say yes to it in the first place. And I just find, and I'm curious what you think about, especially all the clients you've worked with, is what happens, for you and your perspective, what happens when people do not say the yes and give themselves permission? What do you find?
You have to go back and look at the fear that's holding them back from saying yes, right? They don't have the confidence in themselves that they will actually be able to figure it out. And that's coming from somewhere, right? Yeah. What has made them be fearful that they wouldn't be good at something? And listen, when I ran Expressive Living, I get the second year in and I'm bogged down and I not really making any money enough to hire an employee. But what did I do? I hired an employee. Right? Because I was like, okay, and I'm going to hire someone with an art background. I feel like my hair is sticking up somewhere. I'm going to hire someone with an art background so that it complements me well, right? Yeah. I'm great at sales. I'm great at marketing, the whole presentation. But maybe I need someone who can complement me and take on the pieces that I really am not official on. But in the end, by the time I closed down 6 months ago, which I did, that company, I had 2 employees working in the house for about 10 years in total.
Yeah.
While raising 3 kids.
Right. And definitely, some hardship around that in the early years, right?
Oh,
And,
yes.
and you make it work. And I think that's commendable. And I think it's brave as well, is just being able to say yes, even when you can't see how it's all going to flush out, and having that faith and taking those risks that, pay off. And some might not pay off, but it's like, if we don't take them, we'll never know.
Exactly. I took many wrong turns, but
Yeah.
in the end, many long, and now that's what I like to teach. Don't take that turn. But
Correct.
you know what it's like. It's you try it, you test it, and then all of a sudden another opportunity opens up. And I think that's what people struggle with. Like when I tell my clients to do a business plan, and it's not the kind you're going to go get a loan for, it's the kind that's your vision, basically.
Right.
But then I tell them that is not carved in stone. And understand that as I'm teaching you and as you're growing and you're exploring your own market, you're going to go, like, I never knew that I could do that. And that's the part I like even more. And it's going to morph and change. And I think you have to be, work on your adaptability,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
work on your fear of jumping into the middle of the ocean and realizing that you are smart enough and talented enough, or surrounding yourself with enough people who can help you, that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's the brave part. Like,
Yeah.
people look at me and hear my story and go, I could never do that. And I'm the annoying person that would turn around and go, okay, can we switch that sentence to, how can I do that?
Yeah, me too.
I'm sorry, you're my friend, but can we stop saying I can't, or I don't know how? Because
Yes.
listen, at 50 years old, they started a coaching business, and I didn't know anything about the technology behind it.
Right. You just figure it out. Right. I love that, because I think, if you're really in the game of entrepreneurship, you get comfortable reinventing yourself, surrounding yourself with people that can support your vision, even when you're like, I don't know what step to take. Right. And you and me both, and I love that. I think that's on my core value list too. I have a top 10 core values on my website, and it's like, not I can, but how can I, right?
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah,
And you know what? Listen, my oldest son is 24.
Mm-hmm.
He works for me now. And guess what?
Nice.
He's doing so well, he's dumping his mom. Like he's a digital marketing agency, a ClickFunnels expert, right? So I'm like, you know what? I supported him, he supported me, and now it's time to cut the cord. He'll still support me, of course, and I will support him as mother and son. But when I was at a point where I was like, I need to know this technology, where can I turn? And, you start going on all, the Fivers and the all the other sites you can hire people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you speak to people about it. And my son said, hey, Mom, like, I could do that. And I'm like, you know what? You can. Are you available? And then he doesn't live with me. And you find ways to fill in the gaps of your knowledge with other people and with learning. I am a constant learner, as I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's like it's the commitment to learning, and the commitment to always being a student of life and of your business and of other people's businesses, or whatever you're up to actually in your life. And I think what's interesting, I thought I'd share this with you, is my mother's an artist too.
Oh.
And I got my art skills, like this is my painting. I painted that.
Beautiful.
Let's see. Can you see it all?
Oh, that's pretty.
It's a huge painting that I painted probably 15 years ago. And, so I get that. I get the creative side, and I grew up with that, and just helping people monetize something that there's a belief out there. I never bought into it, but that's the difference. You got to stop buying into the belief out there that there's starving artists, and because we hold it in the space called there is. If we start to shift that and go, no, just treat it like a business. And my oldest child is also an artist, which is exciting. So it's like, you can have and do what you love, no matter if it's creative or not. And creative, I think, has different definitions, and like you said, business owner, business coaching, and is creative too. And I think
definitely
entrepreneurs were creative because it's about the ideation, and, not just a painting. It's not about, or interior design or whatever. I came from fashion design and makeup artistry as well. Like there's always been these kind of, more expressive creative But
Yes.
I think inside a business, you're expressing yourself too. So I was curious what you thought about that, and how do you help people around that?
It's that when I came up with, I'm a business coach to interior designers and creative entrepreneurs. There's so many ways to name that, right? You could be like
Sure.
passionate entrepreneurs, or you could be, it's crazy. But the bottom line is, if you're not naturally business minded
Mm-hmm.
and your brain tends to jump from shiny object to shiny object, or new
Right.
idea to new idea, or I can do everything because you're very talented, that's the kind of people I work with.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
it is hard for them. And some people are great at both sides of their brain, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, but still need just somebody to hold them accountable, have them look forward. That's not my dog. Somebody else is
I
outside.
know we both have dogs. They may start having
A conversation.
conversation.
So yeah, that creative mind, and I have it as well sometimes, where I have to go, stop. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole. I've set up an hour to learn something new. I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to shut it down in order to focus on my 90-day goals.
Yeah.
Right? If
The
it doesn't
execution.
satisfy my 90-day goal, it's like, okay, then it's really just me avoiding doing what I'm supposed to be doing in order to become more profitable and grow my business. So one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about, though, is just when you're a mom and raising kids and trying to grow your business. And I feel like I am an extremely ambitious person, but there were years that I had to slow it down a little bit. You can't help sometimes when your kids, and all three of my kids were sick in some respect, all different degrees, the open heart surgery being the worst of it. But my oldest suffered from severe social anxiety disorder. My middle child had food allergies of pretty much everything,
Wow.
all the milk, mustard, paprika, garlic, and I'm all Italian. And
Right.
it was so hard to feed her over the years and to protect
Right.
her from having anaphylactic shock. And then my son had the open heart surgery. So people look at me like, how did you do it? And I go, you know what? I exercised every morning and I drank wine every night.
And whatever happened in the middle.
And when I could, I worked on my business, because that was, I wrote a blog once that I could control what was going on with my business more than I could control what was going on sometimes in my family. There's just certain things you can't control. And those years were tough, but I never lost sight of myself in those years. And I think a lot of people do lose sight of themselves. All three of my kids have incredible business minds now, and they do attest it to the fact that they watched me make some big screw ups and try to fix them and continue to strive, and then be so happy when I was profitable, when I was first growing, and then being, oh my God, I'm like a smooth, well-oiled machine now, and then changing gears again. And through that, I went through a divorce as well.
Yeah.
So my business is my baby, along with my other three babies who are just now adults now. So I just love what I do. When you
I'm with you.
run a passionate business, something that you love to do, you do pop up every morning.
Yeah. It's just, and I say, you and me, man, you're reading my mind. I say that a lot, called It's a Baby. And what do babies need? And it's nurturing and attention and feeding. And it's like, you don't leave the baby, alone for a week, right? Not attend to it in some way, even if it's like get help with a team member or something like that. And I think it's interesting, and I really do appreciate you sharing that, because my kids were 2 and 9 when I became entrepreneur out of corporate America myself, and they really don't know anything different, and yet it's like it's kind of like, well, why did I valued family and children and raising them just as much as I valued the baby called a business, and so it's like, did you deal with mom guilt? Because I bet we can speak to that to people listening.
You know what? That is actually why I mentioned it, because during the years I was living it, I remember thinking, I hope I'm not negatively affecting my children because I'm like, mom has to work right now, or put them in front of TV. But what I switched to doing at one point, which made me feel better, and I actually think it was the right thing to do, is I would make sure I carved out time just to spend with them. I always picked them up from school. I always dropped them off at school. And then I would say, this is sit down and actually, when they were real young, play, which,
Yes.
I'm not the greatest sit on the floor player type.
I
try to be, but right. But I don't love it. I love being with my children, but I would actually give them the one-on-one attention they needed.
Yeah.
Then when I would say, listen, guys, I have to work a little bit, I just found they accepted it better once I wasn't always trying to push them off. Because, what do? You stay up late at night after they go to bed.
Yep.
You get an hour in then, you wake up extra early in the morning, you eliminate the extra TV time. And my greatest thing ever was bringing my laundry in to be done. $15, the greatest $15.
Amen.
When I discovered that, I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like, why am I doing laundry all the time? And when some of my entrepreneurs is like, I'm really, 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 really busy. I'm like, what are you busy with? And when they say, the family laundry, I'm like, you can bring it into the laundromat, and for like $15-20, it comes back folded like you'd never ever folded yourself.
Clean and folded. That's awesome.
So yeah, there are tricks.
Yeah, this is good because I know I have moms, and we're both moms, but we just have kids at different ages. But we've been there, right, when they were little and young, and they require more attention. Mine's now youngest is a teenager, and one's off in college, right? So they don't want me around as often.
Exactly.
That time. And so it is about the scheduling. And it's interesting because even their perspective, like my youngest especially, she was 2. She doesn't know that I work corporate America, and that job took me away more than I am now, honestly, because I have the choice. I have the flexibility. I'm in my home office right now. So when she comes home at, here shortly, we're recording this probably 15 minutes before she gets home, she sees me here. Yes, I got to stay at the desk and do my work and serve my clients and whatever, and do podcasts and whatever it is. Yet, it's the moment I'm done, I take her to dinner, or we go eat, or just spend time together in some way. So, and then you're correct. I still nurture the baby sometimes when they're asleep and come back to the thing. So I think the message is you make space for what's important. Yes. You make space for what's important, and the business, if it's not a priority, will not grow. Or, it's like, in my opinion, right?
No, I agree completely.
Focus on it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you make space for what's important, and the kids are important, and the business is important, and you're important, right? You worked out in the morning, and so it's when we start to buy into the guilt and call it not important as much as, taking care of your kids. It's that measuring that I think people do. And I had to work through some guilt myself, kind of like I should be doing or not. But I love what you said, if strategic, because you and I both, I can tell, are strategic. And so my first employees, per se, were daycare and housekeeping. And I just started using Instacart.
What's that?
That's grocery shopping delivered to your door.
They have that other service here, but I never use it.
Oh, there's a whole different, all the apps, right? There's different apps. Yes. And so we don't even my husband and I both work for ourselves. So, I didn't even realize laundry could be done.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing. And it's even annoying that I have to drop it off.
I know, right? Can you come pick it up too?
But when you pick it up, or my boyfriend will do it, but it starts out being a huge bag and it comes back like this big, and you're just so impressed. You're like, I'm going to do this every time.
I'm good.
But you know what? The guilt, here's the best part is you never think you're going to get any accolades as a mom until your kids are way older. And about 2 years ago, my kids started saying to me, like, we love that you were an entrepreneur. Like, they are great salespeople, my kids. They all, 2 out of the 3 want to run their own businesses. They're all great employees when they have jobs. They value that they have to work in order to make money, because I won't hand them everything. It's just great lessons for a kid to learn that you drive through. So earlier than I expected, I got it was okay. And one time, I used to work on my dining room table a lot, so I would just be I had an office, but I would be near them. And one time I decided, like, this can't be good. You know, people work in the house, although upstairs they have to come through the main area, and I'm always upstairs. So I was on the dining room table for a while, and I think I did that for a couple of years when they were home, like after school.
Right.
And when I switched back to upstairs, my son said to me, well, why aren't you working down here? And I'm like, well, what's the difference? I can, you know, I'm on a balcony here. I can hear. He's like, I like when you're here in the space. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I thought I was doing a good thing by separating that time, but they actually wanted me in the family space so they could just talk to me whenever they wanted and interrupt my thoughts.
Interrupt your just interrupt you.
But yeah, the focus on the business has to be consistent. You have to find your time slots. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, and that's okay because your priority is always your kids and your family. But nurturing, like you say, nurturing the baby consistently.
Yes.
When you have those larger opportunities, you can bump it up to the next level, and then you really have to use your time so wisely when you have less time. Like, there's no going down rabbit holes and chasing shiny objects. It's like, this is what I need to do.
This is my focus. This is what I'm doing. Yeah. I think it's interesting that, you know, it's kind of like if I look back and go, what if I was single and had no kids? What would I do with all my, you know, with all the time? Other than, I mean, I love business and I love business building and all that. Yet I think it makes you more efficient at times. You know, it's like you don't have unlimited time. So it's like, get to the point, right? Get to what you need to get done and, you know, and make it more efficient. So yeah, it's just different perspective. And clearly I'm clear not everybody watching is a mom or a dad or what have you. Yet I think the lesson inside of it is still accurate because there may be other things that you're prioritizing and we're not putting the focus in on the business baby. So, and I think it's just really powerful to remind people that it's a choice. It's always a choice, you know.
Always a choice. What you spend your time on. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So, and a couple questions. One, I would love to know your definition of what brave means to you.
You know, brave to me means keeping the focus of what your dreams are, regardless of what people around you may be saying and doing. Right?
Love that.
Sometimes it's very subtle. You don't even recognize that people are trying to keep you in their world for how they're used to you being. And I'll tell this story really quick, but when I first started this business, I interviewed a lot of other coaches. That's the way a lot of us start out. And I think Alex Underwood said, imagine yourself in a box, and inside that box is your entire community. Your friends, your family, the people who you surround yourself with. And all of a sudden there's a drain in the middle of the box and you start falling down the drain. Those people are going to grab your hands and grab your wrists and pull you back up into safety, right? Those same people then the next day when you see something outside the box that you really want to go for, something amazing, something beautiful, something that's going to drive your energy, and you start climbing out of the box, those same people are going to grab your feet and grab your ankles and pull you back down to what they consider safety.
Yeah.
So it's not that anyone's ever really necessarily holding you back for reasons besides they love you and they want to keep you close to them and in the realm that they are used to having you in their lives.
Yeah.
But to recognize that there might be people in your life holding you back and that you may have to limit your time with, depending, or, you know, get more supportive people who are lifting you up and throwing you over the edge instead.
Right.
So that to me is brave, recognizing that the people we've surrounded ourselves with, sometimes even though they love us, could possibly be holding us back. And sometimes we're holding ourselves back. So to be brave, you got to just keep finding your path and keep reaching out to learning and books and podcasts and coaches who can help you get to that next level.
Yeah, I love that because it's true. It's and I think there's also because I 100% agree with that, and I think there's a point where sometimes we look out there going, it's that's holding me back, when really it's an internal, some type of internal challenge, or it's like, what are you afraid of that makes you think it's that or that person? And they may be doing what they're doing, but it's also it's kind of the projection that you have because there's something uncomfortable you got to face in order to jump out of the box. And I only say that because I've been there. Like, I'm clear I've got to push myself sometimes and surround myself with people that cheerlead me the whole way through. And
did you ever read the book, The Big Leap?
yes, it's one of my faves. Yes, everybody needs to pick that book up. And it's short and sweet. It's not a huge book. And I actually am, I read it probably 2 years ago. Love it. Love it. And it's, I was just thinking about it the last month, wanting to reread it, right? And
I'm on my second time, and I do it on Audible at 1.5.
Oh, good. Yes, I need to do that.
But I went back to 1.0, and I was like, oh my God, they're speaking so slow. When I went up to 2.0, I think my blood pressure was going up. So I land at 1.5 speed.
Yeah, 1.5.
And yeah, it's a great book for anyone who's struggling to get outside that box and have the guts to be brave to go for something. That's a great book to get you thinking.
Yeah, I love that book. Thank you for bringing that up. It's one of my favorites for sure. And it speaks straight to it, and it's just the upper limit, that we're looking up at the box, right? The top of the box. And are we willing to, push through whatever we need to push through and recognize it for what things are? It's not just, sometimes it's the illusion is what we're buying into, and not necessarily, taking the responsibility for it. So I love that and highly recommend it myself. So thank you so much for this conversation. Huge nuggets all the way through. And I think it can definitely resonate with, a lot of different people out there that just may have needed to hear just that, right? It's just like, it's always perfect. And so I know you have something kind of gift-wise that you'd like to offer the audience. You want to tell us more about that, and where can they connect with you?
Yes, I have an exercise called Your Business in Words. It's one of the first exercises I do with my clients when they're really struggling to be able to communicate what they do in a way that attracts their ideal client. So they can get that at my website, nancyganzekaufer.com, and I know you'll have a link.
I'll put it in the link.
Right? Yeah. And on there is an exercise called Your Business in Words. If you want to just jump right to it, it's nancyganzekaufer.com/YBIW.
Perfect.
Probably could have named that better, but it's a 30-minute webinar and a writable PDF that's going to help you easily come up with who you are, who you serve, how they can imagine working with you, and then the excitement around that. It's about 4 sentences. Some people call it an elevator speech, but I came up with the exercise myself, and one person has already won a networking award using that exercise.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Easy. Makes it easy.
Makes it easy. Yes. Articulating what we do is like just one of those things we got to refine. So yeah, thank you for that. And thanks for the gift, and just the gift of you being here and sharing your story. And I'm so grateful to hear your children are all thriving.
Thank you.
Especially starting out with kind of a rough start on occasion, and just yourself, moving through all of your brave moments and ending up where you are. And I know we're not done. I know there's many more brave decisions if we want something outside of the box, right?
100%. Yep.
Yes.
Still heading higher out of the box every day.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. So thank you so much for being here. And any final words that you would like to leave the listeners with? You know what?
Just don't give up trying to be brave. It's worth it. It's worth moving forward every day towards happier, more fulfilling life and a profitable business. Everybody deserves what they work hard for. So that's what I have to say. And thank you for having me here.
You're so welcome. Thank you for that. And I will make sure that we share it. And for you guys watching, if you found value in this, please give us some feedback. I know Nancy and I would both appreciate it. What was your biggest takeaway? Give us a review on iTunes or YouTube or wherever you are watching this from, whether it's Facebook or social media, etc. And we just want to hear what you get from our conversations on this podcast. And I just really appreciate you being here and staying till the end. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode. So thank you, Nancy. And thank you, everyone watching. So until next time, let's go get our brave on. Talk to you then.